It's me, MC of Healthy by George. So I come to you every Sunday to talk about my weight loss journey and being on GLP1 drugs. So think about subscribing. I would love to see you here every Sunday and Thursday. Thursdays, I talk about other health issues that relate to aging and staying functional as we get older. Welcome to Healthy by George. I want you to know that this is for informational purposes only, and it should not be considered as medical advice, nor does it have anything related to my employer. So it's always best for you to check with your own medical provider before you do anything that I recommend or for any medical treatments. So please join me, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. So, GLP1 drugs, hey, they seem to be increasing in accessibility. Now that there could be the approval of Medicaid and Medicare, we're going to have more access, hopefully, let's cross our fingers, to these drugs through Medicare and Medicaid, which is going to be a great benefit to many people who struggle with obesity. But the other problem where there's access is these many online companies that are servicing people. And I have to tell you, there has been an explosion of online companies. And there's nothing wrong with them. I think that, some of them are very good. I used an online company when I first started my weight loss 2 years ago. Was the company called Found. I thought it was very reputable in how it engaged with me. They didn't have access to the GLP-1 drugs at that time. I think they now have done that, in their process. But recently an article came out that talked about over 80 companies. 80 companies online that are now giving access to these GLP-1 drugs through an e-service, which is really, I think, a cautionary problem, because they reported when they reached out to these companies that many of the reviewers found out that these companies failed to do two things. One, tell you that you're getting a drug that is not the same as the FDA-approved drug. You're getting a drug that is compounded by a pharmacy. And often it's not given to you in the same packaging that a regular GLP-1 prescription provides. They give you a single pen, which you inject once a week. It's already pre-measured, and so there's certain safety around that. And, they also share with you, when you get those prescriptions, many of the side effects that you might face. Now, is that the same as getting a compounded drug? Not sure that's the case. So I think there are some real challenges for people to have increased harm if they don't ask the right questions, they don't work through the process. Because when you get a vial and you're told to pull up such an amount of drug into that syringe to inject yourself, you want to feel confident that you know what you're doing. I had to do that when my husband was alive and he had multiple sclerosis. I had to be trained. Someone reviewed it with me, a nurse who went over the process of how to fix the drug, put it into the syringe. And this was an intramuscular injection, so the needle was really long. And thankfully, in this case, the needles are small. And, you have to really feel confident that you're getting the right amount of drug into the syringe. So if you don't feel confident, if you're getting drug from one of these online companies and you're getting it, the prices are pretty reasonable. When this first came out, the prices were really high, but now we're starting to see prices around $250, $300, $330. Well, I don't know if that's reasonable. If I had to pay $300 a month, that would be not happiness. Because that's still a lot of money. $300 a month for 12 months, that's a lot. Come on, $3,600, almost $4,000. So you really want to make it work for you. So my poor little dog is suffering with this crazy weather. He really is so sensitive to the weather. So if you hear some noising in the background, he's having a moment. But yes, what can I say? The problem is that many of these companies, when they've reached out to find out how they've shared this with the people who are purchasing from them, they haven't shared that these are compounded drugs, that these aren't the formal, approved drugs by the FDA. But because there are shortages, we can use compounded pharmacies. So you really need to go through several things. One, where is this compounded pharmacy? Are they certified? Do they have quality controls? Do you feel confident that this pharmacy, this compounded pharmacy, is protecting you by providing you appropriate medication in the vial? And that's the key, really, is that this drug is not going to do any good for you if it's not the appropriate medication. And in some of these companies, guess what? Sometimes they're not legit, so you really need to do your homework there too. These companies are not legit, and they're not sending you real drug inside that vial. So we really have to pay attention. As much as we want access to these medicines, we still need to do that due diligence of making sure that what you're getting is exactly that drug. The other thing that you need to understand is the side effect profile. You need to have a conversation with this doctor through the being online, what do they call it? Conferencing, or mine was through a video chat over the telephone. And you really need to have a conversation about what kind of side effects you're having. I know for me, the side effects have been twofold. One is the terrible constipation, which I'm trying to do things through certain kinds of medications and, Metamucil and other things like more water, more fiber in my foods. It still is not a simple problem. The second one is nausea. The nausea is real. I didn't really suffer from a lot of nausea when I first started taking this GLP-1 drug, but recently, after starting this 7.5 milligram, I've had more nausea. I had the break. I took a break before my surgery because that's a safety factor. You really do not want to be taking these drugs right before surgery. You want to have a long break because it can be a danger for you to have still food in your stomach prior to surgery. So, I stopped the drug about 10, 12 days prior to surgery, maybe a little more. And then I restarted it about not quite 3 weeks, but around that. And frankly, I don't know if it's just I'm having a stomach flu or what, but I have had more nausea than I've ever had before. And it's the kind of nausea that is just, I don't know, it makes you just feel so uncomfortable. It's not like you want to vomit or anything. You just feel like, food, everything is, I just kind of had a couple of days of that, and I'm not sure if it was a virus that I was exposed to, or am I having some kind of nausea due to the medication, because it's very unclear, with all the illnesses that are going on right now. Is it a stomach virus, or was this a side effect to the medication I'm taking? So do your homework. I know how much these drugs can really change things for you when it comes to weight loss. I have now lost close to 50-something pounds. And, if I look at the whole journey, at my highest weight, I'm really at about 90-something pounds lower than I've ever been. I'm at a weight that maybe I was at when I was in college. So that's really amazing. And I haven't been able to do this without this medication. And I know that by having this experience, it's because the complexity about having obesity is not simple. It is something that we still don't understand. So when you're thinking about taking a GLP-1 drug, do your homework, talk to your doctor, talk to the compound pharmacy that's working with you. Get as much information as you can about the company online and where they receive their drugs. Ask them, how am I going to be trained to do this treatment for myself? Am I going to have access to someone who's going to help me? And who is that someone? Is it a licensed nurse? Is it someone who understands the medical profession and can help you with reasonable guidance and understanding, especially when it comes to side effects? Because, you don't want to start this drug, which could be so beneficial, and end up having a side effect like many people do because they don't start with a low enough dose. I started low and slow. I went so much slower and stayed on the lowest dose for the longest amount of time because I did not want to have side effects. And, I wasn't one of those people who pushed to have that 6 or 8 pounds a month. I know sometimes you like to see that kind of weight loss to stay motivated. But if you are in the long game, which is I wish that you are, in the long game, for you to have a healthy weight into the future that you can maintain, it's about taking the slowest steps that can get you towards your goal. So be well, my friends. Check me out here every Sunday and Thursday. I hope that you are doing everything you can in this new year to find ways to be the most vibrant and thriving person that you are meant to be. Let's continue on this path towards the beautiful, thriving persons that we can be and live intentionally. We have this one precious life. Let's do it together. So join me here. Think about subscribing. I'd love to see you. Bye-bye. So thank you so much for joining me at Healthy by George. I hope you found the information inspiring and that it encourages you on your wellness journey. Because remember, your body, your well-being are a most precious gift, and every tiny action taken daily can make a huge difference. I hope the information here is educational purposes and is not meant to replace your medical care. See your doctor and talk about what works for you. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me continuing creating content that inspires and empowers you to live your best life. Goodbye for now, and join me again at the next Healthy by George.